welcome back to ciLiving. Instead of bringing a full cake or cupcakes to your next event, why not bring cake pops? Meredith, the owner of the Cake Pop Corner, is here today to share how she comes up with her unique flavors and designs. Welcome to ciLiving.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, so tell me about the Cake Pop Corner.
So the Cake Pop Corner is in Mahomet, and I'm a certified cottage baker, which means that I've done all the things through the health department to be able to run my business out of my home, which is a unique opportunity to be able to do that. It makes it for a little bit more of a flexible schedule rather than having a traditional brick and mortar bakery.
Right. And you have all different flavors, right? So what are the inspirations behind the flavors and what kind of unique flavors do you offer?
Well, I have some basic flavors that I work with on my traditional menu. I started something in the spring called Cake Pop Wednesday, and that is a self-serve pop-up where people come to my home, and I have a cooler, and it's just a self-serve honor system type thing.
Oh, wow.
And so I introduce a new flavor each week, and so it's exciting for everyone to be able to try my traditional flavors, plus try on Cake Pop Wednesday my unique new flavor of the week. So,
and then do you take feedback and decide if you want to incorporate it into the menu, or is it just sort of a one-off treat for whoever shows up that day?
Yeah, at this point, I'm just using it as just that highlight for that week. I might incorporate it into the future, but just considering the amount of orders that I receive and everything is custom, I have to keep my menu a little bit smaller, or else it can be overwhelming because it is just me.
Just you doing all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you do an incredible job, and I know you do custom orders as well, and you surprised me today with these amazing cake pops that have my face and the ciLiving logo on them. So those are incredible. Can you talk a little bit about your special orders that you do?
Yeah, so those are actually edible images. So I can take any picture, whether that be your pet or your child or an anniversary photo, a logo if it's your business. I can put that on an edible image and then put it on a cake pop. And those have been super popular, the edible images.
Yeah, I feel like for corporations, I mean, that's just an amazing thing to essentially give a treat that has your information right there on the cake pop.
It's sweet marketing.
Yes, there you go. I love that. Well, I would like to sort of know a little bit more about how to make cake pops, because I one time had a complete cake pop fail trying to make it from a recipe I found online. So will you show me how the pros do it?
Yes, which is actually a common thing. I hear that story all the time where people have tried cake pops and they said, one and done, I'm never doing that again. It was a fail. So cake pops are very finicky. So the way that I typically do is I'll bake my cake, let that completely cool, and then I put it into my mixer and let that get nice and crumbled up so it's just really, really fine. I add a little bit of icing in there and then mix it up until it's almost like a Play-Doh consistency.
Okay.
So what I've brought with me today, we'll go ahead and put on some gloves just because, well, for cleanliness, but also just because it doesn't really feel that great, you know, under your fingernails and such.
Right.
But I've pre-measured out the dough, and what we're gonna do is we're just going to try to make a simple round cake pop, which doesn't really sound like that big of a deal, but getting it perfectly round is not the easiest.
Well, and I was going to say, I feel like the way you said, just a simple round cake pop, that feels a little bit like a trap.
It is not. So you're going to go ahead and take it, and you're just going to want to make it a little bit more pliable. So just treat it like it's Play-Doh. You kind of want to warm it up with the warmth of your hands. And then once you feel like you've got that consistency, you can just take it in between your palms, and you're just going to start rolling. So you just keep rolling. You kind of add a little bit of pressure, and it takes a little bit of, you know, working with to actually get that round ball.
Okay.
So you're just going to keep on pushing with that little bit of pressure, that circular motion, and then eventually you're going to get that round ball.
Okay.
So I've got a little bit of a round ball going with mine. These are still a little bit chilled, so it makes it a little harder to work with. Typically, I'm working with dough at room temperature, which is best for dipping as well.
Sure.
So I've got mine in hey, look at you.
I was just following
So you did it. So then what you would do after this is I have a little resting tray for my cake balls.
Okay.
And then that way when I put the stick in, it doesn't flatten out the bottom.
Oh, I see.
So that's a super handy tool to have. So I'll go ahead and give you a stick. And then essentially you just put it straight in until it gets to the bottom of that resting tray.
Okay.
And then that is how you would form your cake balls.
Oh, perfect.
And then essentially you would have some chocolate, you would dip it in the chocolate, and the thing about that is once you've dipped it in, you want to make sure that all of that excess chocolate is off. So there's several different ways you can do that. You can take it and just tap it on the side of your container to get the chocolate off. One trick is you just take like the back of a butter knife where it's a little bit heavier on that back end, and you just kind of tap the stick over the bowl of chocolate, and that helps to get it off. And then once you've dipped it, you're going to do sprinkles or whatever kind of design that you want to do on there.
And is it better to roll it in the sprinkles, or is it better to try and sprinkle it like you would sprinkle a cupcake?
Well, it depends on if you are a sprinkle lover.
Okay.
If you really want a lot of sprinkles in there, you could roll it. But typically what I would do is once it's dipped in that chocolate and you've got the chocolate all over your cake pop, then I would just literally pick up the sprinkles and just kind of put it on that way. Because you want to have nice sprinkle distribution, you know.
Right.
Some of those things that people wouldn't really think about.
Even sprinkles.
Yeah, you kind of want those even sprinkles. And so then you would just take it and you'd put it in some sort of a drying rack. So you'd stick your cake pop in there once it's sprinkled and dipped in chocolate, and then you just let it dry at room temperature in a just comfortable, cool place.
Wonderful.
So,
well, thank you so much for that tutorial and for all the information.
Yeah.
If you want cake pops, Mahomet is where to go.